If we come down to Tim at the front here.
What's a practical thing we can do to be more humble?
Again, it's not one thing. There's like the first thing that helps me is perspective. I know that I don't know everything. Knowing that is very important to your future life. Knowing also that God knows everything is very important to your future life. So those two things help me greatly. The third thing is every single day, one of the prayers I have to God is help me be humble today. Like, I want to be more humble today. Because if I can be more humble today, then I can deal with something today that I don't have to deal with tomorrow because it will be fixed. Does that make sense? I sort of have the view, don't put it off, bring it forward. You know what I mean? Most people have the view of, oh, see, I've got a problem, let's delay it 5 years. You know, like, I don't want to deal with it right now, but I'll put it off for 5 years. And if you keep doing that, what you will find is that 5 years go past, another 5 years go past, another 5 years goes past, and you'll end up with a lot of regrets in your life and a lot of wasted time and a lot of wasted relationships and everything for you to learn anything. What you really want to do is you want to know things sooner. You want to be aware of things sooner. It requires a lot of desire, in a sense with God, desire to know more about what problems you face, what problems you have, but also more about the good things about yourself too, that you also need to learn how to develop. So one of the things I know that's good about me is I love the truth, right? So I want to know how to develop that love further. Does that make sense? Like, because it's a good thing about me, I want to make it better, right? So I want to know, what do I do? Like, so when I notice myself, in a group like this, there's often projections and everything, and people ask you a question, but there's a lot of hidden agendas behind the question. So if I'm more truthful, I go, no, I need to focus on the hidden agenda rather than the answer to that question. Like I did earlier with
Eric?
Eric.
Yeah.
Was it?
About the one thing to focus on in a day?
Yeah, the one thing you need to focus on a day. The agenda there was, I don't want to feel overwhelmed. So let's work on that agenda that you have, right? So that is me being more honest with Eric, because I could have just listened to his face value comment, knowing that he's actually fibbing, lying to himself. I could, and ignoring that he's feeling overwhelmed. I could listen to that face value question and answer that question, but the problem is it doesn't deal with the actual problem, which is avoiding the feeling of being overwhelmed. So if I did that and I know better, then I'm not really being truthful with him, you see. So I've got to be more truthful. I know more of what's going on. I need to say it, even though it might not be happy to hear and tricky, and the person might not agree. Many of you don't agree with what I say. And I don't expect you to necessarily, but I do wonder why you don't listen more, because it's sort of like you come along to a seminar for 15 hours this week, you surely would come along with the motive of listening. Do you go along to other seminars with the motive of telling them what to do? Like you go along to a music festival, let's say one of my favourite musicians was Billy Joel or something like that. So you go along to a Billy Joel concert, and it is a part of your job. You go along there and you decide, put up your hand and say, Billy Joel, I don't like the songs you sing. I think you need to, I think you need to sing these other songs. And I don't like the lyrics of that song. That song wasn't very nice. Is that the disrespect you have for them? So why do you have that disrespect for me? Is the question, you see. So many of you want to argue with me, and I get that. I understand why the arguments are present. But if I was going along to somebody to listen, I would be listening a lot more than you guys are listening. Does that make sense to you? Many of you want to argue. And I get that. I get that a lot of the things I say trigger emotions, and you just feel like, I've got to spurt it out. Like I got to go.
The sin is fighting for itself.
The sin is fighting for itself already, right? And we don't realise it. And so we've got to say something. I disagree with that. But what about this? And but what about that? But many times we're not seeing, even in that moment, you're being unloving to the very person who's trying to love you. Now, if you do that in the spirit world, all the spirit's going to do is just walk away. And you won't get help. And if you do that to your to friends who are trying to, the main reason why the majority of you are here is not because you had a motive to be here. It's because your spirit friends had a motive for you to be here. They felt it would be good for you. Does that make sense? Now, some of you are not in that place, but the majority are. So and there's very little awareness in many of you how much those spirit friends influence your desire to be here, even. Right? They're trying to help you change. And many of them are going, we can hear them when we're talking, just listen more. You know what I mean? But they also understand that you're in a fight. You're in a fight, that truth and error fight we talked about yesterday, the fight between truth and error. It is an internal battle and it's difficult. And I understand that what the subjects we cover are quite difficult compared to going along to a Billy Joel's concert. You understand? Like, go along to a Billy Joel concert, if he said some lyrics that you're not that in agreement with, like, she cuts you once, she cuts you twice, she carves up your life. Stiletto is a song that you wrote. Yeah, and you're going, wow, that's a bad view of a woman. Right?
Well, a lot of people are like, yes, he really gets me.
You know what I mean? But you're not going to put up your hand and say, Billy, can't you just tone it down a bit? And the reality is, if you have respect for the person you're seeing, you will just probably let them speak more and allow yourself to contemplate what's being said, right? And that's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that frequently, because our emotions get so tied up and they're so fighting for themselves, we feel the need to fight the person who's just sharing truth with you. And that's unfortunate, because all that does for me is it says, I'm tired of sharing truth with you now if you're going to fight it all the time. I'm just going to go on to the next group and hopefully someone there is not going to fight so much. You follow? So I would like to see that as a group you allow yourself more to see your sin. We were talking with our spirit friends last night about each sort of group of people, due to attractions, has specific problems, and we were talking with them last night, saying, well, what specific problem is really the major issue as a group that you have? Now, I'm not saying that all of you here have this problem, but it is a major issue in the entire group. And they said most don't see their own sin. Yep. And that is going to be a problem with your relationship with God, because God's trying to help you see that your sins make you unhappy. Right? They make your life harder. They make your life worse. Not only do they make this life unhappy and worse, but your future life will be infinitely better if you could deal with your sins in this life. Right? Like I said, you have the prospect of passing over into the spirit world without sin, even. Like,